so many people outside of the US have got no idea how bad it's got or how bad it's going to get, which has kind of shocked me, although it shouldn't, because obviously not everybody is as chronically online as I am. But I had to explain to a couple of friends recently, I was talking to them about Help Me Leave, and I had to explain, that the Trump regime is busy normalising a pathway that allows them to snatch people off the street without due process and then hold them indefinitely in inhumane facilities. And they've started that with illegal immigrants, but just to be clear, a lot of the people that ICE is snatching are not criminal, have paperwork, or in the process of getting the right paperwork, right? So they're not illegal at all. Snatching these people, doing whatever the hell they want with them, and then disappearing them, right? And they're normalising that. And all they have to do is widen the criteria, and then more and more people go on that conveyor belt. And in the recent executive orders that Trump has signed, we're seeing that happening already, all right? Mental illness, homelessness, all sorts of things. They're now saying they have the right to take you off the street and hold you in facilities against your will. So Help Me Leave isn't hysteria. Help Me Leave is a very practical understanding of where this is going and a desire to get vulnerable people out while we still can.
Why aren't they taking gang members? Why is ICE not taking gang members and serious criminals? You have to ask yourself that question. And once you hear yourself say it out loud, come up with an answer. Why do you think ICE is doing all of these raids and they're going to places where people actually work, like restaurant workers, farmers, car wash attendants? Why is ICE going after that? Trump said he was going to get rid of the worst of the worst. He was going to start with the worst of the worst. He has yet to do that at all. There are known gangs and gang members and leaders of gangs, like very well known to the government in this country. And none of them have been taken by ICE. So you want to know what I think? I'll tell you exactly what I think. The reason that they're targeting regular, hard-working, undocumented workers, but a lot of them are documented. They're just grabbing them, but they're not going into the really dangerous neighborhoods. So the reason they're doing it is because they want to damage our economy. That's exactly it. That's really the only reason. And that's what dictatorships do. They want to weaken and damage the economy slowly without you noticing. How do they do that? They arrest farm workers. What happens when they arrest those farm workers and deport them? Who is going to pick all of the vegetables and the fruits? They're going to all of these places that provide unbelievable amounts of labor, number one. Number two, billions of dollars in tax dollars, because a lot of these undocumented, most of them actually, or people who are here on visas and whatnot, they pay billions of dollars into our tax system. So the only explanation as to why they're not going after the really bad criminals is because those people won't have an effect on our economy because they don't work legitimately. Boo! You heard me, huh? They don't work legitimately. They provide zero incentive to destroy an economy. How can Trump destroy our economy? Very easily. Get rid of all these skilled and very much needed laborers, the labor force. And that is exactly what he's doing.
Do not travel to America. Do not travel to America for the next 4 years. Especially as a black or brown person, you do not want to get caught up in Trump's deportations. I'm sure by now you've heard of the German and UK tourists who were arrested by ICE and detained for days. Allegedly, the German tourists were chained. You do not want that to be your story, especially if you are taking your family on holiday with you. We already know that Trump has a checkered history with racism, and he's managed to infect a large proportion of that country. Do not spend your hard-earned money on a country that does not appreciate you as a black or brown person. For the next 4 years, the world is your oyster. Maldives, Thailand, Bali, Hong Kong, Mexico, Dominican Republic, Jamaica. These are all amazing places. Let's not go to a country that's increasingly becoming lawless. A country where the president has no respect for the rule of law. A country where the president ignores federal judges. My family and I go to Florida every single year. We love Disney, we love Universal, but for the next 4 years, we're going to be going anywhere but. And I think that you should all do the same. Do not travel to America. Pass it on.
But is it your plan to deport everyone who is here illegally over the next 4 years?
Well, I think you have to do it, and it's a very tough thing to do. You know, you have rules, regulations, laws. They came in illegally. You know, the people that have been treated very unfairly are the people that have been online for 10 years to come into the country. And we're going to make it very easy for people to come in terms of they have to pass the test. They have to be able to tell you what the Statue of Liberty is. They have to tell you a little bit about our country. They have to love our country.
The Department of Justice has asked Pennsylvania to turn over its entire voter registration list as part of the Trump administration's campaign to collect election records from all 50 states. This news comes from the Philadelphia Inquirer. It is believed the Trump administration wants these records so that they may affect the outcome of the 2026 midterm elections. At least 19 states, according to the Associated Press, have been asked for their election records. Some states, including Maine and Minnesota, have refused to comply in any way. In these times, we should all be like Maine and Minnesota.
Police car light breaking news, Washington, D.C. is now effectively under military occupation. Former President Donald Trump has activated 800 National Guard troops to patrol the nation's capital, and he says Chicago and New York City could be next. Many Americans are already calling these moves the actions of a dictator. Here's what's happening. Trump has not only deployed the National Guard, but he's also taken control of the D.C. Metropolitan Police. His stated targets: homeless people and what he describes as bloodthirsty criminals. And there's more, much more. Trump says that if you even touch or think about touching a statue or monument in Washington, D.C., you'll face 10 years in prison. Critics are pointing out this would be the first time in U.S. history a president has openly called for jailing Americans over their thoughts. Trump compared D.C. to Baghdad, even though official crime statistics show the opposite picture. Crime in D.C. has been down for 2 years, and nationally, violent crime has been dropping for 2 years straight. Some argue that if crime in D.C. spikes in 2025, it might be because Trump moved in. Political leaders are speaking out.
Americans are leaving America, and it is not for vacation. It's for survival. A growing wave of Americans are packing up, terrified by Trump's dictatorship, Republican fascism, and Democrats' capitulation. Interracial couples, LGBT plus individuals, people of color, and intelligent people in general are seeing their rights replaced with restrictions. In Ireland, U.S. passport applications hit their highest level in a decade, up 60% in just 2 months. France is seeing long-term stay visas for Americans up 20%. Portugal, Spain, UK, relocation companies can barely keep up with demand. Traffic to Blacksit Global, which helps Black Americans relocate, surged 50% after the election. Some are leaving quietly, like a trans couple in Colorado, because Trump wrongly says there are only 2 genders. States are moving to ban gender care, so they're planning their exit. Google searches for how to leave the U.S. spiked after the election, and real estate deals for Americans in Spain surged before the Golden Visa program was shut down. European culture is different than American culture, and many won't adjust. And of course, Europe has its issues: immigrations, taxes. Putin expected to take Moldova and then Romania with his eyes on the rest of Europe for the new Russian Empire. But a possibility of another European war is a safer bet than staying in a country that is already a fascist dictatorship.
Homeless individuals will be given the option to leave their encampment, to be taken to a homeless shelter, to be offered addiction or mental health services, and if they refuse, they will be susceptible to fines or to jail time. Again, these are pre-existing laws that are already on the books. They have not been enforced, which is part of the reason for this federalizing of the National Guard, to bring in this assistance for law enforcement. While we are targeting criminals and trying to remove criminals off of the streets, we also want to make DC safe and beautiful, and that involves removing mentally disturbed individuals and homeless encampments as well.
This right here, like I've stated, you guys, is an attack on the homeless and those who are mentally disabled here in the United States of America. So once more, you guys, I beg you, go read the bill. There is a lot that is attached to this bill. So here's the thing, you guys. I ended up doing a whole video about this executive order last month. And there were so many people in the comments talking about how, no, our government wouldn't do this to homeless people. Obviously, that's not the case anymore. And here's the thing, you guys. What people need to understand is what Caroline Leavitt is not talking about. She's talking about people refusing, right? People refusing to move, people refusing to leave, people refusing treatment. What she is not talking about, because inside this executive order, it indicates if there is not a bed available for you in a mental hospital, they can put you in jail and or prison, no matter what. Also, you guys, what she is not talking about, inside this executive order, it indicates even if you have to wait 18 months, 36 months, 100 months for a bed to become available for a mental hospital, they can leave you in prison. You're not a criminal, but you can go to prison for being homeless in America. Let me know your thoughts right over this way, you guys, because as I said, I did a video last month, a full breakdown of this executive order when it comes down to this topic. So scroll through, you'll see this. Hopefully I'll be able to put a link in here for the actual executive order. But if not, scroll through, you'll see this little photo over here, and you'll be able to watch that video. Thanks, you guys.
The Lee Fire near Meeker, Colorado has surged past 113,000 acres, making it the 6th largest wildfire in state history. Containment has barely reached 7%, despite massive firefighting efforts on the ground and in the air. Entire communities are under mandatory evacuation. Highway 13 is shut down between Pisons Creek Road and Highway 64, with multiple county roads also closed. The Rifle Correctional Center has been fully evacuated, and thick smoke has pushed air quality to dangerous levels across the region. Crews are carrying out strategic firing operations to burn away fuel before the main fire reaches homes. Calmer winds have given firefighters a narrow chance to make progress on the southern flank, but the threat remains severe. Dense, dry fuels and the potential for shifting winds mean any gains could be lost in hours. Governor Polis has declared a disaster emergency, bringing in the National Guard and heavy aircraft to fight the blaze. The situation remains highly volatile, and the fire is still growing. We will keep monitoring and provide updates as they come in.
Trump announced, starting this morning, all 50 states across the United States will completely eliminate homelessness. This time, we will thoroughly clean up the country. He spoke bluntly on social media. Let our nation be safer and more beautiful than ever before. The policy is highly coercive. Those willing to leave will receive official assistance. Those who insist on staying will be directly classified as criminals. We will lock you up in the prison that belongs to you. There is no room for negotiation, no nice guy approach. Trump is confident, declaring that the speed will be as swift and efficient as the border changes, from millions flooding in over months to achieving zero. The operation has already begun in the dead of night. The president has begun deploying personnel from the U.S. Secret Service and Customs and Border Protection. As early as last night, these personnel could be seen patrolling the brightly lit nightlife districts of Washington, D.C., The homeless must leave our country. The campaign has begun in the Capitol, launching with force. The great President Trump.